Triangles.
What the
From total football, tiki-taka, gegenpressing. This is football's DNA. Always been in the game. Now, it's in the name. The shape of football's future. On the pitch. In the culture. To the world. Triangles.
Please welcome CEO of Electronic Arts, Andrew Wilson.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Amsterdam, considered by many to be the birthplace of modern football. And tonight, I hope you'll agree, we're going to take another giant leap forward. As I look out at the audience, I see a lot of familiar faces, people who've been on this journey with us for more than 2 decades. And I know that what we have on the live stream is many, many millions of people around the world who have contributed maybe in the most important way by playing our game, competing with each other, enjoying the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat as part of our EA Sports football experiences. To quote many great people who have come before me, football is life. And as part of that, our lives are full of these stories fueled by football. For me, as if you couldn't figure it out already, I grew up in Australia. And in amongst rugby and cricket and surfing and other crazy stuff, we played football. We called it soccer there, but it was football. I played on a great team with great people who went on to do some pretty extraordinary things. But what's most important for me for that time are the friendships that I forged, friendships that have lasted me a lifetime. As I grew, I went to work at an Italian restaurant to help pay my way through high school and college. And in addition to a bunch of very passionate Italians, we had 2 Turks, a Swede, a Dane, an Englishman from Blackpool, and an Armenian maitre d' who went by the name of Gino Almano. Not his real name, but that's a different story. And Gino is a very particular character with lots of very interesting characteristics. But the most important to us was that a 40-something midfielder, which seemed ancient to me at the time, he was an incredible playmaker in our Tuesday night pub league. I joined Electronic Arts in 2000, and I almost immediately started spending time in the UK and broader Europe, and ultimately ended up living in the UK for a stint. In a small studio apartment above a curry shop, which if you're a kid growing up with not much disposable income, has all kinds of benefits. But for the first time in my life, I no longer had to seek football out. I was surrounded by it. I got to go see my first ever Premier League match. Fulham playing at Loftus Road. Craven Cottage was getting a refit. And Fulham were great, but Chelsea was my team. And I've been criticized a great deal over the years for being a Chelsea fan for all kinds of different reasons. But for me, watching Lampard and Drogba play was electrifying. And I couldn't get away from the attraction I had to Chelsea Football Club. But I got to travel around Europe. And I remember being in Munich in the winter and going to see Bayern play. Now, I was not prepared for the cold. I get there, I have a jacket on. I don't know what the temperature was, but it was cold. So I go immediately to the merchandise stand and I buy beanies and scarves and socks and whatever paraphernalia I could get on my body to keep me warm. I went to the bar and grabbed a drink and worked my way to my seat. I put my drink down and began cheering with my friends and fans around me. And for what seemed like minutes, I bent down to pick up my drink and it was frozen. As an Aussie kid who grew up on the beach, I'd never seen this kind of environmental dark magic. So as I stood there clenching this ice cube shaped as a cup, looking enviously at those around me drinking warm red wine, I thought to myself, this is football. But it did prepare me for the next chapter of my football story, which was I got invited to go to Vancouver, Canada. It also gets a little cold from time to time, and become part of the EA Sports football video game team. We were the UN of video game development. We were 19 nationalities speaking what felt like 20 different languages.